Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Antiques. And I think we got a bunch of antiques here across from me.
Slightly used.
Slightly used. Is Ronnie's microphone working?
Not really.
I don't know what's going on there because I've seen people using it. What are you doing
I
differently?
think it's the operator.
I'm not doing anything different. I think it's just turned down.
It's just broken in.
That's better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the operator.
I think it's the operator. That's what I think it is.
I think it's the board operator.
The board operator?
Yes, the
We're not
board
going to say
operator.
which one,
No, we won't say.
or I'll turn you off altogether.
Also, now you just the same as said it was you.
Yeah, he knows.
Did I?
Why, yes, if you said you was going to turn it off.
Huh.
All together.
What the heck?
Oh, well, you know.
Did you mean to do that, or was that planned, or to do that?
I was planned.
Okay. So,
Go ahead.
we are famous for
We are?
not staying on track.
Oh,
Okay.
but
Yes,
we're
that
going
we
to try
are.
to stay on track today.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not. You
Remember,
changed it already?
No, remember the show was going to be what we was going to talk about last week, and then we got off on trains. So now we're going to get off on cars at the. Well, go ahead, Howard. You tell them what we're going to talk about.
Cars.
Yeah, but tell them what kind of car.
Well, cars that you don't hear much about anymore, or anything about, and a lot of these.
And you sure don't see
no,
riding down the road.
very rarely. If you go to a car show, you might see some of these.
Yeah, very.
Uh,
Yeah,
Such as Auburn.
yeah. Now Auburn also made a
well-
famous car, though.
Well, the Cord,
Yeah.
and I think they were also. I think Duesenberg had something to do with them too at one time. How about American Austin?
Would that be the same thing as the Austin Healey, or is that something
No,
different?
I think it's a separate company.
Okay.
American Bantam.
I bet you our listeners. So far, I'm on one that I do recognize.
How about Marquette?
Keep going.
LaSalle,
Yeah, I do recognize that.
Cord,
Yes.
Doble, Doble.
Nope.
You'll never guess what they were. They were steam cars,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
and they were produced up into the 30s, I believe.
Hey, people don't know it, but they actually had electric cars back then.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Baker Electric. Yeah, it was. Franklin.
Yeah, I do remember it.
How about the Graham? They had superchargers.
Hmm.
Hupmobile,
I do. I remember that.
Essex,
Mm-hmm.
Terraplane.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of
The
Hudson.
Hudson.
Marmon and Roosevelt.
Huh. You mean the president made a car?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it was him. Let's see, page 56 here. I'm not too familiar with that one
That
myself.
sounds like Franklin Delano might have got in the car business at one time.
Anybody who could invent an air-cooled V4 engine with overhead valves and pressure lubrication in 1902 had to be a genius, and Howard Marmon was certainly that. I don't know where the Roosevelt.
You know, a lot of those
The
companies.
Roosevelt was named after President Theodore Roosevelt
was it?
and designed to be an affordable automobile.
You know, a lot of these companies that you're naming off, Howard, got absorbed into larger companies.
Well, that's what happened to our whole automobile industry.
Well, not only it, appliances, anything. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Like motorcycles. Mm-hmm. Early in the 1900s, think about it. The automobile was a brand new deal.
Yeah, it's like the what you're seeing today probably is comparable to the electric car.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a lot of startup electric car companies.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to be, they'll eventually be absorbed, and they'll
Lots of them never release anything.
But you take soda companies. Any of these companies, like in the early 1900s, up in the 30s now, the soda companies were really knocking them out. There was more soda companies coming up with new products, same as the automobile, but it costs a little more money to speculate on the automobile
Of course.
than it does the soda.
You want to see about the phone call here?
Yeah, I think we ought to.
You're on Let's Talk Antiques. Hello?
I'm sorry. Hello. I was calling to put somebody on Swap and Shop.
Well, Swap and Shop's over.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
sir.
that's all right, ma'am. Bye bye.
You know, did you notice though? Howard almost was going to say swap and shop.
Yeah,
I mean, it was real close.
it was real close.
So, what some more of those?
Well, let's see. There's the Lafayette or Lafayette. If you're from the south, it's Lafayette. If
Yeah.
you're from the north, it's Lafayette.
Okay.
How about Viking? I never heard of that. It was Oldsmobile, apparently.
Huh.
Of course, Packard. Pierce Arrow.
You got a call?
Yeah. Oakland. How about how do you pronounce it? Erskine, Erskine, and Rockney. Erskine.
Erskine.
Now, the Rockney, Rockne, was named after the famous football coach, Notre Dame.
New Rock.
And I
There you
think
go.
they released the car, and then something happened to him. He died, or something happened, and it didn't, and there weren't very many of them produced after that. Whip
Try
It.
that phone there.
Yeah, how about Whip It?
Yeah, I do remember it.
Let's see if we got. You're on Let's Talk Antiques.
Hey, I remember seeing down there at that car lot there at Highway 41 and 53,
Yeah.
a Whippet.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just, we just said a whip it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about it, so I left it there.
Well, you probably should have bought it. It's probably worth a lot of money
Are you
today.
talking about that place across from me?
I didn't know how much it was going to take to fix it.
Well-
I mean, it being down there, it probably just got pushed in there. I don't
Yeah.
know.
What was it all together, or was it a wreck car, or what?
Well, the body was still good, and and the wheels were still on it. So I guess
Did it have the wooden spoke wheels?
I'm not sure. It's been quite a few years back.
Okay.
Oh, it's probably gone.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it's gone. Somebody snapped that
Yeah.
sucker up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine they had if they knew anything about it. I didn't. And I am a car guy. So.
Oh,
You sure are.
Okay.
all right.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Yeah, there's a gentleman that comes to our church has a Durant. You ever heard of Durant?
I've heard of it, but I
Now,
wouldn't.
Durant, I don't.
Was Dodge? Did Dodge build
No, well, I think it was at one time. It was a separate company, but Durant was the owner of the company. Had something to do with the early Chevys. I think he.
Oh, really?
He either started Chevy and then got forced out, or it went the other way. He
Yeah.
left Chevy and started.
Established in 1921 by former GE or General Motors
Yeah.
CEO William Billy
Yeah, Durant.
Durant. There you
Yeah.
go.
So Durant was one of the startups in the Chevy, or what became GM. But I think he got forced out somehow. Yeah. It's really interesting because it's a nice looking car, and it's original. It has not been restored, and he drives it to church every once in a while.
What year is it?
About 1920.
They were only 21 to 31, so
I was going to
10
say
years?
I was going to say 29 model. I think is what he told me. It sounds really nice when it starts.
Is it an open top car?
No,
or-
it's a two-door. It's a kind of like a coupe, I
Yeah.
guess you'd call it. It's a really nice look. But he drives it to church. Now, he's not now because the weather's getting bad.
Where did he say where he got it at?
No, I don't know the background on it. But it's kind of interesting. But, and we used to have what they called the independents here in the car companies here
Yeah.
in the States. And they're gone, too,
Yeah, well, the American Pickers. What is that one up there in Nashville that they got the shop in?
Marathon Motorworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marathon.
Yeah, I've got a bunch. I've only got one or two sets of the full sets of keys for a Maxwell. Due to Maxwell. Anyway, I've got a lot of ignition keys for the Maxwell.
Oh, really?
Maybe like 20. Yeah, believe it or not, I got them from this gentleman was a judge, and he passed away, and I guess it was his niece brought them to me, and I bought them from her. But I did have three complete sets, the rumba seat and the ignition.
Oh,
But it says Maxwell on them. It's cool as heck.
yeah, that'd be great.
So what you say about Maxwell?
1904 to 1925.
Yeah. A lot of these companies made it almost to the Depression.
I think.
That a lot of them, that really killed them off.
I think Chrysler bought them out.
Chrysler bought. Well, a lot of times those when they would be buying these companies, it's all about the engineering.
Yeah.
They might have had a really good engine. Well, Studebaker. I mean, they were way ahead.
Right, and some other ones who do you remember Checker?
Yeah.
They made taxi cabs.
Yes,
they were
the
special
same taxi cab for years.
for years, and
they quit making them, I guess.
they have now, I believe.
Yeah.
Finally, I guess the what really hurt them mostly, I believe, was the stringent safety laws.
Were they made up in Canada?
No, they were. I want to say Kalamazoo, Michigan, for
Okay.
some strange reason. I don't know why that is. But of course, towards the end, they were using a lot of Chevy or GM engines and transmissions and stuff. But the bodies, parts and stuff,
Couldn't wear them out, Howard.
well, they were designed and built for the taxi cab business. They were
To last.
big back seats,
Yes.
easy to get in, big trunk for carrying luggage, heavy duty, but Checker, Essex, Terraplane. Well, hey, Kaiser Fraser.
Oh yeah.
And my first car was a 1951 Henry J.
Oh yeah.
99.
You know, there's a gentleman over here off of 55 that has a Henry J.
Yeah, I see one at the
It's a
car show.
maroon one, I think. Is it maroon?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but
That was 9 for Kaiser.
well, Henry J was,
That was
Kaiser's
correct.
father, I think.
That was his name, Henry J. Kaiser.
Oh, was it Henry? I
Yes,
thought it was he did it mainly for his
he also
father,
built the Liberty boats,
or maybe Fraser was his dad. I don't.
partnered up with Howard Hughes. on the
But he
first
built,
two.
he built the big ships during World War II, and then after the war, he got the idea that he could build cars, and so he came out with Kaiser. And then the Kaiser was really a futuristic-looking car back in the 50s. Fraser was a little more conservative, looked more along what was normally produced. Then Henry J. You used to be able to buy a Henry J. at Sears.
Really?
99.
Yeah, Allstate. It had Allstate badges on it.
I didn't
How'd you
know
know?
that.
Yeah, and
Well, I just remember as a teenager going to drag strips and they'd have those Henry J's
Oh.
with those big 427s in them and stuff.
well, that's what happened to the old Henry J's. There are very few of the original Henry J's left because the body was perfect for hot rods.
Mm-hmm.
You see any of those Stutzes? Stutz?
Yeah, Stutz Bearcat way back in the day.
Yeah.
Willys, which
They built the Jeep. didn't
yeah.
they?
Now Willys and American Bantam were the ones that were early on in the Jeep.
Didn't
development.
American Motors buy them out?
Yes, they bought them out in the 70s, I guess. It
Yeah.
was.
But I mean they supplied a lot. Hey, I seen a picture the other day of a Jeep. It wasn't assembled. You know how they used to put them in the crate and they'd ship them overseas
Yeah.
and then they'd put them together.
Right.
But it's in one great big wooden crate.
Big crate.
Everything was there. The
Right.
body and all. I mean, all you had to do was just put it.
Put it together.
It's pretty simple. It looked like to put it together.
Right.
I mean, if Radar could take one apart and mail it home to his mom, it
Yeah.
could be.
Couldn't be that bad.
No. Well, evidently they shipped them in big wooden crates.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of car companies, at first, they would open a plant, let's say in Argentina,
Yeah.
which was basically an assembly plant, and they would crate the car up or the vehicle up and ship it down there, and then it was cheaper to ship it that way, see, and then they would assemble it basically in that country wherever it was.
The way the Jeep was built for the military, it looks like, is it was all there. Every piece, and it was really simple the way they had everything laid out. The main body, and then the wheels, and then there was parts on top of the lid. The one I seen, I wonder, can you look and see if you can find a Jeep that's still in a crate?
Oh, like on eBay or something?
Well, or just Google it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Military 19 World War II Jeep still in a shipping crate.
Still in the shipping crate.
There, believe it or not, I mean after the war there was a lot of surplus.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a guy on the mountain. Remember, he had all kinds of those Jeeps.
Yeah,
A lot of other military
Yeah,
stuff.
you used to have
too.
a big surplus store up there.
Yeah, but he had all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he had a lot of those Jeeps still crated up. Do you see one?
Yeah. I mean, there's some stories about them, but there's
I would say they'd probably all
in
been
2013 somebody found one and it was about to cross the auction block. They said.
bought. Oh,
And was it still in the crate?
Right here, David,
Yeah.
Oh, you found one? There you go.
from a Life magazine article.
Yeah. And so, see, look here. It looks like they stacked the tires in the backside of the
The
passenger.
crate?
Oh, the photos. Oh, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
I got some of those.
You got some too? There you are.
Pictures of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how
so-
they shipped them.
Yeah. So there's the body. Yeah. So it just like
It's a big wooden.
basically it's as big as the
The body.
the main body.
Yeah.
Right,
And all the
right.
parts just fit
They
into
said
it.
that's why they made those windshields where they folded down.
Yeah.
So they can ship them.
And see those parts there and
Yeah.
there's parts.
I mean, that's some engineering right there. They figured out how to. Well, of course, that they do. Look at there. I mean, that's the factory.
There's
Just
an
all
old
kinds of crates.
World War II photo. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Bunch of guys crating them up.
Yep. Let's back. We're getting close to break time.
Hey,
here.
and I guarantee you today we need to pay the light bill.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're running the
We're gonna
heater.
keep the heat on.
We'll be right back with more Let's Talk Antiques.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy picking!
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, we're back here with Let's Talk Antiques. Hey, you were talking about the Jeep in the crate.
Right.
A little bit off the subject.
No, we don't ever do that.
But when I got out of the service, I had a reserve commitment that I had to serve. You know, so many years in the reserve, and this was we were living in the Dayton, Ohio area, so I was assigned to a reserve unit in Springfield, Ohio. And it was a supply company. And so we went on summer, 2-week summer training. And we went to eastern Pennsylvania, the Pocono Mountain area, Toby Hanna Army Depot. And it was, like you said, a supply depot. And, of course, they were shipping stuff out then to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And they, had rail cars just full of trucks and all these different supplies. And so we helped in the warehouse with some, and learned the system. But anyway, in this huge warehouses, I don't remember how many there were, but they were big, full of things crated up, generators and...
Was it the World War II stuff that?
There was everything.
Or Korean War stuff?
Korean War, and I mean...
Did you see any Jeeps?
I don't remember what I
Yeah.
saw, but I remember just row after row after row of military items stored, waiting for a war.
Oh, wow.
So I can imagine somewhere there's a depot, a big old warehouse, back in the dusty corner. There's a Jeep still in the box.
I would almost bet money there is. Speaking of that, you said you found some down where they found them in Georgia in the warehouse.
Yeah, in Swanee, Georgia, there's somebody was, I think they died or something like that, and they were looking in the person's warehouse, and what we guesstimated there 25 to 30 of them were in the carts, and they found them last year, 2018.
Good
Still crated up.
Yeah, see, and a lot of people would go to these auctions and they would buy a lot, a big pile, a whole lot of 10 or 15 items, and probably took it down there and put it in a storehouse, and then, like you say, somebody later, heirs found it and didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But it was amazing how much stuff, and I can understand why they would do that, but it was such a huge, and that was just, I'm sure Toby Hanna was probably just one of many warehouse
So it's
depots.
probably a 1 million square foot warehouse or something, because we had one out here in the park was about 150,000 square
Well,
feet.
they were huge, and there was a series of buildings. It wasn't all
Yeah.
one building. It was a bunch.
Did
of
it have rail system in it?
Boy, it's been so long I don't remember. That's been a long time ago. But I remember that warehouse, and I can see how you could go in there and probably back in some dusty corner, got pushed back, is a box got a Jeep or something stuck in it,
Yeah.
that they would find. But anyway, that was just got us a little bit off.
We're going to talk about something else but before we do, Phyllis,
I found an ad where they were advertising surplus Jeeps for $278.
Wow.
How about that?
Don't you wish you bought
Did it say what year that ad was?
It says 1985 for for the side one, but the other one is older, but it doesn't say. No.
You used to see ads like that in like Mechanics Illustrated and
Yeah.
Popular Science back in the
Popular
back.
Science,
Remember the
yeah.
little classified ads? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and you'd see the ads for stuff like that. I don't know how legitimate they really were, but it was kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, and in comic books and stuff, you'd see all kind of different ads. I mean, there was one in there where you could build your own motor scooter for $65.
Oh, speaking of that, remember the King Midget?
Oh, yeah.
That was a car used to advertise all the time in Popular
Yeah.
Mechanics or Mechanics Illustrated.
And what was the one that
They were made up in Ohio.
didn't they
somewhere, I
have one
believe.
too that floated or something you could build?
Well, Volkswagen had
No,
one, but you didn't
No,
build it.
this was one of these that
Oh, Amp.
yeah, ample car. But did they have a car like that though in that you could actually build?
I don't know.
But that King Midget, that is a
But
good
the King
example.
Midget was cool, and there's several of those still around. There's kind of like a King Midget car club, National Car Club, but it had like a
that up,
big old
Ron.
lawnmower engine in
Midget.
it, and it's
Hey, I tell you what I traded for this weekend. It was a little. What do you call? It don't have a steering wheel. It's got the handle. There's a name for that.
Tiller.
Tiller. Okay. Anyway, I traded for this little car.
Uh-huh.
And it was built on a runabout frame, like early 1900s frame in
Yeah.
the rear end and the front end, and they'd redone the car. But it had a little 5.5 horse Briggs and Stratton motor. But it still had the hydraulics in there to run it was, just reverse and drive.
Right.
But anyway, I swapped for that thing this weekend. I got to keep it one day.
Well, somebody.
I already swapped it off.
Oh, I figured you'd keep it for the Christmas parade.
No, I tell you what, I've made a pledge, and I told somebody when I traded for it the other night. It was on a Saturday night. By the way, Saturday night when this guy come all the way from Springfield, Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
And
there is one. That's
so we was swapping and trading in the restaurant, Jiffy Burger. They called me and said, "There's a couple come all the way from Kentucky. They seen you on American Pickers, and they want to come out." Well, here I am in the middle of swapping and trade with this guy that made an appointment. I said, "Bring them on." So, so 4 people, 2 couples came, and Brian took them through the warehouse, and so turned out really good. I swapped and traded for early 1900s barber pole, 7 foot tall, and I traded for a Rocket bubblegum vending machine. You ever seen one of them?
yeah, I remember those way
That was
back.
about 5 foot tall, and let's see what I got one. Oh, I got the little car, and I was thinking there was something else. I don't remember. I swapped. You ever swap so much you forget what you trade for?
No, I'm not that. I'm not a wheeler dealer like you.
But anyway, so we ended up that little car out of the trade. I didn't even want the car. I told the guy, "So I'll help you load it back up." But when we got down to the final trade, I had to take it. Sometimes people, but I was going to tell you earlier. I told my friend when I got it, I said, "Now I broke my promise. I promised you I was never going to buy nothing else that took gas or insurance."
Yeah.
But I only kept it a day. So what you got there?
I've got a Willys military Jeep assembly instructions. So this is how to unpacking and assembly a boxed vehicle. It's only $14 on eBay for
That's
the
kinda cool.
manual.
That's cool,
That's
yeah.
very cool. Yeah,
Is that all you found on?
that's all I found on that. Yeah,
Well, it says what 41, 42, and all the way up to 45.
yeah. During the war, yeah.
Hey, I throw another little car out at you. You remember the Crosley?
Yes. And I was telling Ronnie earlier, Crosley, they made the sharp little old car. They made a little sports car too.
Right.
But they made good radios. They made good refrigerators.
Well, what's his name? The guy that owned the company. I don't know if it was his. I guess his name might have been Crosley.
I think it was.
And I want to say again, they were big up in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. They made radios, early TVs. There was Crosley TVs.
They were in the appliance
and
business. weren't they?
they were refrigerators. And come to think of it, our washer and dryer today is a Crosley, but it's made by
Well,
a
some
conglomerate.
companies.
Somebody bought the name,
Well, not just that name, Howard. They bought a lot of
they
Hot
bought
Point and all
all
those.
of them,
names.
yeah.
And they still manufacture them probably down the same assembly line with
Oh.
just different tags.
just different name tag on it.
So what, did you do any research there looking?
Oh yeah, I'm sitting here reading an article about
What about the king midget?
The King Midget was produced between 46 and 70.
Mm-hmm.
It started out with a 1 horsepower
Hang
motor
on,
on
hang
it.
on just a
Let's
second.
grab the phone here. You're on Let's Talk Antiques.
Hey, y'all forgetting the little Metropolitan. Remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's a neat little car.
And the Hudson Hornet.
Oh
The
yeah.
Hudson Hornet was another nice car.
Yeah, they was a Chevrolet sedan delivery too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's still popular.
Sure is.
Yeah, the old Metropolitan was actually made in England and had four American motors, I believe.
Yeah,
and
but it
shipped
had
here.
a convertible and a little coupe. And
Yeah,
Yeah, my grandfather had the little coupe thing.
yeah, they were neat little cars. They're bringing good money now if you can find one and you get it fixed.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so much for that.
My grandfather had a,
that was really a nice looking little car.
yeah, it was a cute little car.
yeah, my grandfather, well, my wife's grandfather had a little Model T.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find a mag for it, and he traded it for a '54 Chevrolet.
Oh boy.
You'd have thought he could have found parts for a Model T as many as they made. They made millions of them.
Well, this was down in Florida, so
Yeah.
they didn't have millions of them down there, I guess.
All right.
As far as stores go. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you, Gene.
Have a great one.
All right, thank you, sir. Bye bye.
Back to the king midget.
Okay. The first one will come as a kit that took a 1 horsepower motor.
Mm-hmm.
You got the chassis, the axles, the steering assembly, springs, and instruction manual, and patterns for the sheet metal. So evidently sheet metal didn't come with it for $270. And then by
What year was that, Ronnie?
that was 1947, I believe. it was.
Okay.
Okay, and then they had a Model 2 that in 1951, it was a 2-passenger convertible. You could either get it fully assembled or as a kit, and this one had like a 7.5 horsepower Wisconsin, side
Yeah,
shaft
yeah.
engine on it, and the wheelbase was a little less, 8 inches less than the Crosley that we were talking about. It measured 102 inches overall. No speedometer or reverse. That'd be bad, no reverse. But you could get it for around $500. The listed price was under $550. Let me see. Then the company began to offer a 2-speed automatic transmission that did have a reverse.
Well, no bigger than it was. You could just roll them around.
Well, you just put it neutral and push it out, if you got somewhere.
Okay, in '57 they came out with a Model 3, and it was now 117 inches, still a little smaller than Crosley, but now it had
Still less than 10 foot.
4-wheel hydraulic brakes. Oh, what about that now? 9.5 horsepower motor. Let's see here. 58's price was $900. Close to $900 for that.
$900.
And they had the much bigger Rambler American. It started at $1,775.
Yeah, see, that's what hurt them.
Then in '66, you could get it with a 12 horsepower Kohler engine, and it was, and also converted the car to a 12-volt electrical system. So it had a regular 12-volt system. They made these to the '70s.
All right. With that, we better take another break.
Yeah, we're about time for another.
Let's pay the gas bill this time, Howard.
Okay, yeah, we better do that too while we're at it. Be right back.
Hello, I'm Pickin' Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy picking!
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, we're back with Swap and Shop. I almost.
I knew you was going to do it.
I knew it. I did it again.
But
anyway, we got a call, folks.
Let's look. Can we answer it?
Yeah, let's get the call
We
here.
might as well talk to him.
Hey, I can hear Ronnie. I have never touched
yeah,
that
don't
button.
play dumb. Hit that phone call.
Oh, okay. You're on Let's Talk Antiques. Hello.
Yeah, I used to have my daddy, he used to have a 1949 Plymouth. It was a straight six.
Yep.
All it had was a steering wheel. Didn't have no radio, no nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And,
They were
I
bare
used to-
bones back in those days.
Hey, if you wanted a radio, you had to pay for that, didn't
Yep.
you? Did it even? I don't even. I think some of them didn't even have heaters.
No, the heater was extra. Later.
Well, this one had a heater, but you had there's a lever down there you push down, and it would open the vent up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
That was
never
it.
heard of a air conditioner.
That was the air
But,
conditioner.
you know,
Yeah.
He gave $300 for it.
That's amazing.
And I used to get half a gallon of gas and get it started. And then I'd go down there and pay nickel a gallon for kerosene.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd fill that thing up with kerosene. And the hotter it got, the better it would burn. And I'd drive that thing all the day long on that kerosene.
Right.
And the next morning I'd do the same thing.
Start it back up with gas.
Gasoline.
That thing, we went around the world with it.
Right.
And I just wanted to call you and tell you I love to hear y'all talk about old cars.
All
Well,
right.
thank
Because
you.
I've had a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I got gypped on about getting a good car and trade it off.
Yeah. Well, hey, you're not by yourself. A lot of people did that.
Talk, and I'll be laid here listening.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Well, like I said earlier, Howard, there's no way you can't make a show on planes, trains, and automobiles.
Oh, that's true.
Either of those three. Now, you got some interesting facts on something. What was
On
it?
the Metropolitan.
Well, let's hear it.
So it was sold from 53 to 61. In today's terminology, is considered a subcompact. So I didn't realize they were that small from the pictures, but no, the pictures have people in them.
Mm-hmm.
One of the cool things about it, let's see, they had some total numbers. So total cars made and sold in 9 years was 93,986. So they sold some, but not a huge amount.
It was a real small car.
Yeah.
See, and that was kind of going contrary to everything, you know, at that time. Gasoline was still cheap. So.
Yeah.
And they've got some notable owners here. Famous people that owned them was Jimmy Buffett, Bridget Fonda, Steve Jobs, Princess Margaret, Paul Newman, and Elvis Presley.
Ah, yeah.
And then where it's appeared in movies is Weird Al Yankovic drove one in the movie UHF, which doesn't seem odd that Weird Al would drive one. Kevin Bacon's character as a struggling filmmaker in 1989's The Big Picture drove one. And in the Pixar movie The Incredibles, the dad, that's the car that he's squeezing into it. And in the 2007 film Nancy Drew, which my daughters love, the main character Nancy Drew drives one. And I noticed it's a really cool little convertible.
They're
she's
a
driving
neat
around.
little car. They're
Oh,
just,
yeah.
got
Hers
a
was
little
in
Austin
primo shape.
4-cylinder engine in them. You know, they're really nice.
Howard, you remember the Simca?
Oh yeah.
Now, that was a little car. I'd
Yeah.
say that's about the same size or smaller than this one.
Yeah. Well, see, in Europe, gasoline was high.
It still is high.
It's high. Yeah, and you know, it was 25, 30 cents a gallon here in the States, and it was $1 or more a gallon over in England. So in France, they had little cars, and you're all through.
Still do
Europe,
have little cars,
Still
don't
do, even to today. But not as like they were, you know, like the 3-wheel Messerschmitts and stuff.
Yeah.
That came out because of the gasoline was so high. See, and so England, Hillman, Vauxhall, or however you pronounce, which was owned by GM. It was the GM arm. Ford had what they called it?
Fiat, were they?
Fiat was in Italy, but they were all little cars. And so American Motors thought that the Metropolitan would be a hit in this country. So it was actually produced in Europe, in England, I believe, by Austin, I believe, if I remember right.
Well, isn't the Opel?
Opel was GM Germany.
But it was made. Yeah,
that was.
It was an import, right?
I think they still.
And they
I think
import.
it still exists.
It might. Oh yeah, but they actually imported it into the States at one time.
What was the guy Get Smart? You remember the TV show Get Smart?
Maxwell Smart.
Yeah, Maxwell Smart. He drove one.
Yeah.
And, remember? The detective, the dumb detective that always. I just got one more question.
Oh yeah.
Peter, is it Falk?
Yeah.
Colombo. He drove a Borgward or something like that. Remember, it was a weird little car from Germany, I believe. But so there's all kind of cars.
How about a Sears Model L? You ever see that?
Sears.
Made by the Lincoln Motor Works. That's not the company that Ford associated with. This company just made cars for Sears.
So it's kind of like what I traded for, Ronnie.
From
a little runabout.
From 1908 to 1912.
Little runabout car.
How about that?
Yeah, they had, I think, a 40-horse motor in them. Early cars were rated at 10 horsepower, and then later ones developed 14 horsepower.
I didn't know. Well, you know, Sears sold everything at one time. You used to be able to buy a house through Sears.
Yeah. From 300.
I live on
Sears and Roebuck Road.
That's what I live on. Yeah, the house burned down like 2 years ago. Though.
But you know,
was that the only one on Sears and Roebuck Road?
Yeah.
They sold a kit.
Like the Sears ad said that the Sears buggy is so simple a child can run it.
Yeah. That's kind of like a little car I traded for.
Let's see who we got here. You're on Let's Talk Antiques.
Yes, sir. We was talking about Sears. I've got an old Sears and Roebuck 12-gauge pump shotgun.
All right.
That I got probably 40 years ago when I was a kid. Still got it. Still a good gun.
They're good, yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to let you know.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
You won't find that one.
Yeah, I had a good. I had a 20-gauge Sears shotgun, bolt action.
Well, I think you're right though. You know, I just don't really understand what happened to Sears. Sears had it all. I don't know why they didn't keep doing it.
I don't know. Somebody in their marketing or
Sears failed to get online at the right time.
Yeah, that
was their problem.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
They also had all these big nice stores in areas of cities that the neighborhoods deteriorated, and they didn't have the money to move to nicer areas, I guess. So people stopped going to that store because it was not in a desirable
Look at
section.
Walmart. I mean, they were way ahead of Walmart. Why in the world couldn't they?
I don't know.
I mean, Walmart got in the grocery business. What is that? I hear somebody talking to you, Howard.
I do too. What do I hear?
Is our phone still on?
Huh?
Is our phone still on?
No.
It's probably a reverb. It's not a reverb, is it?
Oh, it might be me.
Is it you?
There you go.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was going to say, who's
what
coming?
the heck?
I was on SearsMotorbuggy.com, and apparently there's something that plays on that.
Well, let's hear it. What we got there?
It's a website dedicated to in 1886, Richard W. Sears bought a supply of unwanted watches from a jeweler and formed Sears Company.
Yep.
Let's see, where does it get to cars?
Well, I knew they sold to Henry J. at one time, but I didn't know about that other one.
In the fall of 1909, the catalog included for the first time an automobile, the Sears Motor Buggy. They said that when it was reaching the top speed of 20 miles an hour, it felt like it vibrated like you were going 100.
I bet.
The initial production year of 1909, the Sears was offered for only $395. Solid tire runabout.
That's why it probably felt like it's not 100.
Solid tire.
But starting in 1910, Sears offers 5 different models for the automobile. truth of the matter is they were basically the same car with different amenities like fenders, lights, or tops.
Hey, you know that the gentleman that called in with the Plymouth,
Yeah.
he was talking about, but at one time, the radio was an upgrade.
The heater.
Oh, yeah.
The heater, and then when turn signals became available, they were an option. They were not automatically on all cars, on. And same with seatbelts. At one time, seatbelts were an option.
And windshield wiper delay motors.
Yeah, but and some
Well-
cars didn't even have windshield wipers
Oh,
with the
no.
with
I
the
mean, the older
motor.
ones.
No, you
Yeah.
had to take your.
They had a hand crank it,
Yeah.
and then they came out with the vacuum
saw the-
which
motor,
was awful going up
which
a
you
hill.
could go up a hill and the wipers would stop.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Yeah, it
know-
would.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hadn't
It
heard
pulled a
about those.
vacuum.
and then they came out with a double diaphragm vacuum pump, so that that didn't do that, but it still tended to do it a little bit. And then after a while, that vacuum pump would start leaking and pump gasoline into your oil, and yeah, that was and when it got real old, not right away,
okay.
but it was a defect that would develop eventually. But then we went to electric motors.
Yeah.
That was an option. You could get the vacuum for a while that was included, but if you wanted the electric motor, that was an option. And today rubber mats. The floor mats were all rubber. It's front and back. You wanted carpet. That was an upgrade.
Absolutely. Well, I remember the first '68 Plymouth Roadrunner I ever seen. I looked inside and it had those rubber mats. Those Roadrunners, they were cheap cars.
Well, yeah.
With a big motor.
With a big motor, lightweight,
Yeah, big motor, cheap car.
and go real fast.
Yeah.
But we go today. Cars are just full of options that we used to pay for.
Yeah.
Of course, the price is significantly
Well,
higher.
I mean, when you get a car that can drive itself, we've really come a long ways, Howard.
Yeah, we need that the way some of these people.
Okay, so we've done a lot.
I've driven one. I've driven a Tesla with
Really?
autopilot. It's
So-
amazing.
And live to tell about
I
it.
went down my curvy road, at night in drizzling rain, doing 45 miles an hour, that curvy road, without having to touch the wheel. Now, my hands were right next to it because I was terrified the whole time.
You didn't trust it.
But it was,
I don't know
It
if
was
I c-
amazing how good it was. I understand now how people can fall asleep driving to work.
Oh yeah, I know. I
with it.
understand.
Because once you get convinced that it works,
Hey, we paid the lights, we paid the gas. Let's pay the water, then come back, and you're gonna tell us about Auburn Museum.
Oh, okay. Let's do that again. We'll be back with more. Let's talk antiques.
Hello, I'm Pickin' Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy picking!
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We're back.
We're sitting here trying to, Ronnie's counting just in the A's on car companies that are not here tomorrow is 90.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
So that must be,
26 letters, 2,600, and there won't be that many as
But
these
at least a
or-
couple
or-
thousand.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there had to have been thousands of different companies.
yeah.
That,
I've got something just unusual that in the midst popped up here.
okay.
A McLaren Elva, it's a new car, is $1.69 million with no windshield. It'll go from 0 to 124 miles an hour in 6.7 seconds.
With no windshield.
And no windshield.
You'll have a mouthful of bugs.
Well, it says that they've gosh, how did they describe it? The Elva will screen its occupants from airflow using what is described as active air management system. This collects high pressure air at the front of the car, channels it over the front clamshell, over the cockpit to create, as the official release puts it, a relative bubble of calm. We suspect the word relative might be important when there.
I don't know
When
about
active,
that.
a deflector on the leading edge of the hood rises 6 inches to create a low pressure zone for the vent to operate. This system works automatically as speed rises, but can be turned off manually for drivers wanting to experience the full effect of 200-mile-an-hour airflow.
I don't think I'd want to experience
And by the way, Howard,
Yes, sir.
Sears quit selling cars. The last one was 1952, according
Yeah,
to
that
Philip.
would have
Yeah.
been Henry J. Well, they called it an Allstate.
But it was a Henry
In
J.
Allstate. there
it
you
was
go, there you
basically
go.
a Henry
It
J.
was a Henry J.
And it was $1,400 or $1,600 nicely equipped.
Can you imagine the postman delivering that? Because you ordered it out of the catalog.
Yeah.
There you go, no doubt.
I guess. I'm not sure
He
about
did.
that.
Would he have drove it, Howard?
Well, you had to carry it, wouldn't he?
Would he have drove it, or would he have towed it
I
behind
would
his?
say they came by freight.
Yeah, I imagine some
you
kind of freight
probably had to
company
pick it up
brings-
at the freight company,
I guess.
or they might have had a little ball on the back of their.
It could deliver it in a truck.
Yeah.
It could come in a semi. I mean, the houses came in a truck.
But the Henry J was
So-
really a nice little car. It was my grandfather's car, and he drove it for years. And
You still got it?
no, I wish I did. It was a 1951, had a Continental six-cylinder engine.
It's pretty
And,
fast then. Wasn't it?
And overdrive, which was cool. And, you know, 3 on the tree with overdrive. And it was a nice little car, 2-door. And what was cool about it, it was a fastback. And it had a hatch. The back seat laid down, so when you pick the trunk up, you know, you could put a big load, you know, something longer in there. So what we used to do is my Helen and I were dating, and her mother would, we'd go to the drive-in. Well, her mother would send her little brother with us, you know, and give him money to pay for his to get him in. So we would put him in the trunk, put the seat up, see, and we'd buy 2 tickets to get in, and then we'd put the seat down. He could get out, and then we'd use his money to go to the concession stand.
Either way, they got the money, right?
Yeah, they got the money one way or the other, but that was cool. And that was back before they used to see the seats lay down, you know, make a bigger cargo area.
Well, they make a big deal out of the utility vehicles doing that
They're
today.
doing that today. And that
You
was
know, things they do
1951.
today, they've all been done.
Well, you know, that's what's sad. We don't have all the car companies, and you don't. It doesn't seem like you got the innovation. You know, like Studebaker, they had what a lot of people thought was weird styling, but it's really became became popular later. They set the standard. You know. Overdrive transmissions showed up on one of the independent companies. You know, so a lot of the innovation was done by these little guys trying to make a foothold, you know, get it started. And then later was adopted by the big companies.
Look at Tucker with the center headlight.
Yeah,
That followed the road.
Followed the road. And of course, you know, he was way ahead of his time with his car, and that's probably one of the reasons why it failed. I think,
Well, the big three wouldn't let him
I think
make
the
it.
big 3 killed him off.
Mhm.
And there's a very good movie about that, you know, about the Tucker and his.
Yeah, I saw that movie. I liked it.
It's really a good movie, and I think it's true. I think, you know, they killed him off because they were afraid of him.
Well, he was going somewhere.
Well, he was, but he didn't make it.
What?
I'm reading about the Henry J.
Okay, so
I've never heard of the
so
Henry
tell
J
us about the
before today.
Auburn.
Oh, okay.
Museum.
Well, several years ago, of course, I have a Rambler, our American Motors car, and Rob, my son, and I took our cars, and we went to Auburn, Indiana, because American Motors had a car show there.
Drive them or truck them?
No, we drove them.
Okay.
Truck them.
It's going to a
We
car
don't-
show.
Mike, I don't have a trailer queen. But anyway, we went up there and we got to tour the Auburn Museum, and there's another museum right behind it. But the Auburn Museum is in the part of the old plant, and in the basement is just full of all different kinds of cars.
You said like 120 of them.
I must be, and it is full, all different brands. But on the main floor of the building, with big windows, so it was kind of like a showroom display at one time. They had Auburns and they had Cords and they had Duesenbergs and I mean just beautiful cars. You went upstairs and that was where they apparently the offices were located, like the design group and the president's office, and it's just like it was, just like when they shut down. The desk and everything is there. And back in what was the design section, they even had one or two, I forget now, of the clay mock-ups where they were building a car, designing it, out of the clay.
The clay.
Before they kind of a big display model of the. They had a couple of those on display. They had blueprints. It was just kind of like stepping back into time. But the cars were beautiful. So if you're ever up in Auburn, Indiana, stop in at the Auburn Cord Museum, and I don't think we paid it. We might have paid something. I don't remember now. Probably
Where
did.
is Auburn, Indiana? In Indiana.
Well, it was.
Is it Midway?
About Midway, I guess.
Okay.
It's
near
and it's on
India and
an interstate. It's been so long since I've been up. I don't remember what the routes were.
Is it near Indianapolis then?
Above Indianapolis, I
Okay.
guess.
Right. Okay.
I'd have to look at I'd have to Google it now.
Yeah.
And of course, the other one is the Studebaker Museum in South Bend, Indiana, is really great. And in Rambler, they now have the Heritage Center or something in Kenosha. You can go to Kenosha and go through it, and they got a lot of stuff from Rambler or American Motors and Hudson and stuff.
What year is your AMC?
I've got a '74 Gremlin and a '79 Concorde.
Okay. All right.
And
Ronnie's sitting here looking at a steam engine for a Stanley steamer.
That's the whole thing.
That's amazing.
look up if you're interested in look up Doble, D-O-B-L-E, steamers.
These steam engines would have to be inherently dangerous.
Well, of course.
I mean, if they
Look
wreck,
at the weight.
if they wreck, people are gonna get boiled.
But
You know.
yeah.
What what you could do though? You could boil a chicken while you're riding down the road.
You could boil
You got
yourself,
home, you'd have
you got
supper.
here, right?
Well, you can always have hot coffee. That's for sure.
There's a Stanley steamer setting the world record today.
Yeah. But that the boiler system and the water and the fuel to do all that, you're almost talking a train.
Yeah, you
Here
are.
it is.
Yeah.
Here's
And the
boil.
same with the early electric
There's
cars. The
the
batteries were
Yeah.
extremely heavy.
But they'd have to fuel it some way, wouldn't it? I wonder if they
Well, that's
fuel
my
it with
Leaf
oil.
had
It's right-
600
it's
pounds
right
of
in the
batteries.
front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on
You reckon
it,
they fueled
so-
it with oil? Do you know, Howard?
Do what now?
The boiler system on those steam cars, do they fuel them with oil or something?
I would say kerosene.
Kerosene.
Kerosene, okay.
Or gas. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
no, kerosene. Kerosene.
Okay.
Kerosene, I would say. I don't think they went with gasoline. It's too dangerous. But
0 to 60 in 10 seconds in 1923.
yeah,
Oh, gone.
yeah.
17-gallon tank of water and 26 gallons of kerosene.
And how far could you go?
Did
it say? 200 miles on 10
no,
gallons?
that's a Model T.
Oh.
It doesn't say. It's comparing it to the Model T, but it doesn't tell you how far it would
Yeah.
go. All right, I've never heard of a Doble before. There you go.
But Doble was
22 moving parts, 11 in the engine.
There were
is what it
tons of
said.
steam engines.
Oh, the
cars
Doble.
here that
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
they tried to still produce cars like in the 30s or 40s.
And
Was
we
Doble still
these
around then?
standard
I'll
Does
get-
it say?
Let me see. They were talking about their 32 model was apparently their good one.
Yeah.
or
Anyway,
their 20.
it's just a shame that with mergers and everything today, we and you don't seem like you have too many of the independents, except now maybe in the electric car field, you're going to have these
Yeah.
pop-up companies. that
But
are
still,
gonna-
Howard,
But
the startup cost.
oh yeah,
I mean, it prohibits.
Especially nowadays with all the safety requirements
Yeah.
and stuff like
And-
that.
Yeah, there wasn't all those requirements
Yeah,
back then.
no. So I mean,
They didn't even really realize what a car was, you
There
know.
were
Right.
none.
right.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we're about out of time.
All
Again.
out?
All
Okay.
out.
Oh, here's a
I guess we'll be
snowmobile.
back next week,
Lord willing.
and the creeks don't rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might rise, though. We got bridges now, though.
Well, that's true. We'll see you next week for more Let's Talk Antiques. Take care and enjoy the nice day. Bye-bye.